She watched in utter horror as the man in the long black trench coat got on the bus. Was he a man? That she could not say. When he'd entered her bookshop offering to donate a strange book, her gut reaction was to run. Not to have anything to do with this man, creature, entity, whatever. The entire situation was bad news, and she knew it. That's why she told him to take his book and leave her shop without ever touching the book at all. She watched him leave before asking one of her co-workers to take over the shop, as she had something to tend to, her daughter. She hastily made her way home to begin packing. She was going to take her daughter to safety no matter what. She was not going to let her sweet little girl get dragged into the middle of whatever was about to happen. That's why she had gotten on this bus out of town with her, the only bus out of town. Of course, her daughter had many questions, all of which couldn't exactly be answered in a way her daughter would understand. The only thing she could think to tell her young child was it was a surprise, and her daughter loved surprises. That's why she herself was surprised when that thing got on the bus she and her daughter were currently on, and equally horrified when her daughter gravitated towards him. What was she to do? She was trying to avoid this very situation. Had he been following her all this time? That would explain how he ended up on this bus. "Look what the nice man gave me, Mommy," the child said, snapping the woman out of her thoughts. Shock didn't even begin to describe her feelings. What was she to do now? She couldn't exactly yell at her daughter on a crowded bus for going up to a complete stranger and taking that cursed book. That would attract way too much attention, something she didn't need right now. She was somewhat relieved when that thing got off the bus, but not completely. It had selected its next victim, her daughter, and now she was more desperate than ever to get her away from the book and to a safe place. But where? She couldn't just take that book away from her daughter, leave it on the bus, and continue with her original plans of escape. Her daughter did have a habit of falling asleep on the bus. She could take the book away from the child then. The only problem with that is that book would find its way back to her child. It always finds its way back to its chosen victims if they manage to lose it. So that wasn't an option. The only option she had was to face the situation head on with her daughter by her side. She would have to be strong for the both of them, since her daughter was but a mere 5 years old. What she needed was to get off this bus and head home. It would be sad for her daughter to miss out on her surprise, but she needed to get back to her shop and go through all the books she had on cursed objects. There had to be a way to put an end to this. She quickly grabbed her belongings and her child and got off the bus before the bus headed out of town. Lucky for her, it was but 5 blocks away from her shop. Of course, her daughter had many questions as she clutched the as of yet unopened book in her little hands. Questions that couldn't be fully answered. "You'll just have to trust me," she told her child as they reached the shop door. Asking her co-worker to take care of her child for a while, she headed to the back room to begin her research. She had to have something that could help her save her daughter, because once her daughter opened that book, the clock would begin ticking, and time would run out before she had the chance to stop it. It was 3 a.m. She had been going through all the books she had about strange phenomenon, yet nothing she read would be able to help her. Without any help, how was she going to be able to help her daughter? She was able to keep that strange book away from the child for now, but she knew it wouldn't be long before it would start calling her daughter, dragging the child into a world she couldn't possibly understand. The mother didn't understand herself. How could a seemingly simple book lead to people going missing, and what kind of creature was attached to it? Even the internet was of no help, at least not at first. She did manage to find photos of the young woman that had gone missing over a year prior. She also found a photo of the young man from a month ago. They were alongside numerous other photos of missing people going back decades, none of which seemed connected in any way or mentioned a strange book. Yet the mother knew they were all connected to that cursed book somehow. A mother's instinct told her so. Studying each photo a bit more, the mother noticed a strange pattern. The missing were all grouped in 4s. A young woman, a young man, a mother, and a child. And they all went missing around the same time of year, Halloween. Makes some sense due to all the celebrations of the paranormal that go on around that time of year. What doesn't make any sense is why these people. What was so special about them? Digging further, the mother found out that one was always a loner with hardly any friends. One was always looking for their loner friend, trying to find out what happened to them. Understandable, but where does the mother and child come into play? None of the missing are related, so that can't be the reason they all went missing. The loner was alone because they feared other people. The friends searched for the loner out of justice or revenge. The child was too innocent for anything, and the mother would do anything to protect their child. Nothing made sense. And the fact that no one was really looking for them anymore really got the mother's antenna up. After staring at the photos a little more, she noticed something strange. What would have been a set of 4 photos was only 3. Did that mean there was a survivor? For the year 1953, there was a young woman, a young man, and a mother missing, but not a child. The child must have survived. More digging and several website clicks later, she found an article about a young boy and his missing mother. The father had been blamed, but the young boy always said it wasn't his father. No one believed him, thinking he was trying to protect his father. The mother soon found an address and rushed to take the first cab she could to talk to him, with her daughter in tow. She was determined that they should not suffer the same fate as the others. If there was one survivor, there had to be a way to defeat the creature, and she would do anything she could to find out how. Looking at the address she had written down, the mother felt confident she was at the right place. She fully expected to be turned away for dropping in unannounced. She was surprised when the now old man welcomed both her and her daughter into his home with open arms. "I've been waiting for you both," was what he said as they entered. It was as if he knew why she and her daughter were there. Confused as to what he meant, she started to ask how he knew, but before she could finish her question, he made one simple statement. "You'll know soon enough. Now let's talk about my mother." As he described how his mother had gone through the same thing in 1953, the mother looked at her daughter with both fear and love. She listened as he told her about his mother's small bookstore and the strange visitor that donated a weird book. She marveled when he told her how his mother went through numerous newspapers, looking for the same pattern she had found. She almost jumped out of her skin when he talked about his mother's visit to another survivor. "Yes, there was another survivor like me," he said once he noticed her expression. "There have been many over the years, one every 20 years. Before she could ask him if he'd ever visited any of them, he told her there was no use to look for them. He was the only one left. She was afraid to ask what happened to them, but knew she needed to know the answer. What he told her was less than encouraging. Whatever is attached to that book doesn't like witnesses, so somehow anyone that manages to survive ends up going missing soon enough." The mother stared at him, confused. "I know that doesn't explain how I've managed to survive as long as I have. Believe me, I've come close plenty of times over the years, but something always stops that thing from laying one bony finger on me." "What's that?" the mother asked, eager to know what his secret was. "My mother. Instead of being afraid, she was willing to take on that creature, preventing it from ever touching me." "A mother's love saved you?" the mother asked as she watched her daughter play with his pet cat. "Seems like it. A mother figured it out in 1953. Now you know the secret. It seems to feed on fear, so you have to find a way to hide your fear if you plan on saving your daughter." "And willingly take her place, for what it's worth," she added. "Afraid so," he confirmed. They continued talking about what she should expect in the coming days. He explained that she might not have long left after her daughter accepted the book. The creature usually comes for his book in 2 to 3 days, and it has already been 2 days. 24 hours left, she said to no one in particular. "We need to hurry then if you're going to be prepared for what's to come." As she followed him into the kitchen, they both stopped at the sound of the loud bang at the front door. "Bring your daughter upstairs and hide her. I'll hold it off as long as I can." The mother quickly did as she said, She grabbed her daughter and carried her upstairs and found a good spot in the attic. Telling her daughter to stay put no matter what, she ran back downstairs to try and help the old man for all he'd done. It was the least she could do, but when she returned to the living room, he was already gone. In his place stood the creature from the bus. "Didn't think you could escape me, did you?" She took a deep breath and tried to be brave. She knew she couldn't let that creature near her daughter, so she did her best to stall. "Where's the old man?" she asked in her best mom voice. "He was a loose end. I don't like loose ends," it said. It almost sounded like it was snickering. "Why? Why do you do this?" she asked, hoping to get something she could use against it. "Why does anyone do anything?" it responded. It was as if the creature knew what she was trying to do. "I'll call down your daughter and let's get this over with. I am very busy after all." "Leave my daughter alone," she forcefully said. "And there it is. That mother's love that means nothing to me." She stared at the creature confused. "Do you honestly think you can take your daughter's place and I'll just leave her alone? She accepted the book. She's mine now, as are you, the minute you touched my book in your shop." "But I never touched your book," she screamed. "What?" it angrily asked. "I never laid one finger on your book. I told you to take it and leave, and you did. Or don't you remember?" She responded. Something had told her then not to touch it, and she was glad she hadn't. It roared in anger as she quickly bolted upstairs to grab her daughter and leave. She heard glass shattering and furniture breaking as her and her daughter tried to sneak out the front door. "You tricked me," it roared as it pointed at her and her daughter. "You were supposed to accept the book. You didn't. And now you messed up everything." She held her daughter in her arms as she listened to its rant. "I didn't trick you. I just didn't take your stupid book," she responded calmly and a bit more brave than before. "You ruined the order. You ruined everything." Smiling, she slowly approached the creature. Knowing its back was against the wall, she figured this was her chance to try and daze it even more. She just had to be careful not to push her luck too much. "It wasn't me who ruined whatever plans you had. You just picked the wrong mother. That one's on you," the mother said with a smirk. "Your names were in my book," he began as he pulled it out of his ever-present messenger bag. "You both were next on my... Where's my list?" "I didn't do anything to your list, you monster," the mother retorted. The creature roared at being called a monster. Not the reaction she had hoped. She definitely didn't need this creature even more angry than it already was if she wanted to escape with her daughter in one piece. "Mommy," the daughter said, trying to get her mom's attention. "What did your brat do to my list?" he hissed as it eyed the child with malice. "She didn't do anything to your list," the mother said defiantly. "Mommy, I need to tell you something." "Sweetie, not now," the mother tried silencing her daughter. "No, let the brat speak. What did you do to my list?" the creature asked, intrigued. "Well," the daughter said, wiggling out of her mother's arms and taking the book from the creature, "I fixed the list." "What do you mean by you fixed the list?" her mother asked. "Simple. I took our names off the list and put his on it instead. See, Mommy?" the daughter replied as she showed the book to her mother. Sure enough, there was a strange set of lines that must be its name written down in the book. Her and her mother's name were nowhere to be found. "Who told you how to do this, sweetie?" the mother asked. "The cat did," the daughter replied. A small meow drew the mother's attention to her feet, where a small black cat with blue eyes rubbed against her legs. "You!" the creature roared as it lunged for the cat now in the daughter's arms. This could not be happening. A simple child was not supposed to figure out his name or how to add it to the book. "Do you know what you've done, child? You've ruined everything!" the creature roared as it attempted to lunge for the girl, but before it could reach her, something pulled it back. "No!" the creature screamed as it was pulled to the floor and towards the kitchen. The mother quickly grabbed her daughter and ran out of the front door, leaving both the book and creature behind to their fate. She shuddered as she heard loud growls, hisses, and screams from within the house. Even the small cat hissed at all the noise. Before long, the noise stopped. There was nothing but silence, an eerie silence. The mother quickly walked to the nearest street and hailed a cab for the ride home. "Do you think it's over, Mommy? Do you think the monster's gone?" the daughter asked as she petted the small cat on her lap. "I hope so, sweetie. I sure hope so." 6 months later, things seemed to be slowly returning to normal. The mother reopened her bookshop to increase patrons. Her daughter loved having the small cat around and was doing well in school with no signs of being affected by what happened. Things were going so well that the mother had started to forget what happened months prior. That's why she never expected the letter she got in the mail from the old man. She quickly excused herself from the front of the store to read the letter in private. By now you have moved on from the events of months ago, and I must say you and your daughter are doing well. Cheers on your continued improvement. You may also have so many questions. Let me start by answering the main one. I've known for a while that you and your daughter were going to visit me. Don't ask me how, you don't need to understand that. That's why I wrote this letter to be delivered months after things had settled down. I'm going to assume you got it by now. Second, you're still wondering how your daughter was able to defeat that creature. The answer isn't as simple as you think. Yes, the cat did tell her how only a small group of children can understand the cat. She happens to be the true guardian of that book. For centuries she has been trying to keep it from falling into the wrong hands. You've seen the results when that happens. Take care of her, and she will take care of you. I have no other way to explain that. As for the creature and the book, the creature is gone and will not be seen again, at least this version of the creature. The book itself is currently safe and away from human hands. That's why you must take care of the cat, since she is the only one who knows where it is. As for me, I am somewhere you can't reach me, but can always reach you should I need. Let's hope that doesn't happen, and we can have some much-needed peace. Enjoy your time with your daughter. Know that you are much braver than you know, especially when it comes to your daughter, and I will always be watching over you both. Stuffing the letter into her pocket, the mother smiled a genuine smile for the first time in months. She had hoped things were going to be okay, but now she knew for sure. No more weirdness, no more creatures, and no more cursed books. Life was going to be normal as it could be for a single working mother and a young daughter that have already been through so much. We thank you for joining us for our special Halloween presentation of the Book 3, the final chapter. We hope you had as much fun watching this video as we did making it. You can find the entire story in the playlist linked in the description below. That way you can binge watch it again later on this evening in its entirety or catch parts 1 and 2 if you've missed those. After this story, I bet you'll never look at library books the same way again. Remember to bring some joy, laughs, and smiles to somebody's day. Have a wonderfully spooky Halloween evening, and we will see you in our next video. Later!